Hi there, my name is Chloe from easywaytochange.co.uk. I think it's safe to say that perfectionism, although very useful at times, can have really massive drawbacks. So we all might know somebody who, on the surface does extremely well in their career, they seem to have it all, but they're just never satisfied. Often sort of people who are anxious can tend to be perfectionists. It's one of the common things I see in my hypnotherapy practice. It might be an excessive worrying accompanied with low self-esteem. And there's this strong motivation to keep the perfectionism going, because if things aren't perfect, if they're not sort of trying to reach this unattainable goal, then they might do less well. And that's sort of the thing they fear the most. Now, of course, not all perfectionists are going to have a problem with this. A psychologist called Hammercheck categorised perfectionists as either normal or neurotic. And the key difference between the two lies in self-worth. Now, neurotic perfectionists will often use achievements and praise as a measure of their own self-worth. So they'll only feel good about themselves if people are telling them they're doing well, or if things are going really well in a certain part of their lives. If things aren't going so well, their self-worth is really affected. Now, in David Byrne's book, Feeling Good, it's sort of an excellent book on cognitive behavioural therapy, he asks a patient to draw a line of their self-worth on a graph from birth to death. And this patient drew a straight line across at about 85%. And then he asked her to draw another line of her productivity or her achievements in that life. And the line she drew sort of tends to fluctuate a bit. Then by looking at how her self-worth, her own appraisal of her self-worth, didn't change with either time or life events, she could see that no matter whether she was achieving in her life, no matter whether she was more or less productive at that time, her self-worth was a constant and it was always the same. I think that's a really important point to remember. So if you recognise any of these traits in yourself, here are a few exercises that you can do to help to change the way you think and feel about things. Live a happier but still productive life. So work on becoming your own best friend. How would you speak to someone that you really care about, who you want to motivate and encourage to do their best? Would you point out all their flaws? Would you tell them that they're never good enough? Would you compare them to other people? I don't think so. So really be aware of the way you speak to yourself. And if necessary, make a list of self-critical thoughts that you're telling yourself throughout the day and try and rephrase them and write them in a more rational, positive way. Try to examine the evidence. Take the time to question your beliefs and what evidence is there to support these beliefs. And really bear in mind that just because you have a thought about something doesn't make it a fact. So we don't always have to believe the thoughts that pop up for us. In his book, which I have here, When Perfection Isn't Good Enough, Dr. Martin Anthony suggests that you try some experiments to test out your beliefs. So make some small mistakes on purpose and just see what happens. Try to learn to tolerate the discomfort that you notice that. Because quite often once we've faced our fears, we can overcome them then. Try and see things from the other side. So what if things don't turn out perfectly? For example, if you're making a friend a cake for their birthday and it doesn't turn out completely perfectly, can you imagine what you would think and feel if you went to someone's house and the cake didn't turn out perfectly? It's really not that big a deal if you sort of see it from the other side. If you're prone to procrastination, try to break tasks into smaller chunks to make them more manageable. Now, I read a book called Getting Things Done by David Allen, which describes a really excellent technique for getting your to-do list and sort of breaking it into really easy, sort of manageable chunks. And it's a really good system, so I'd recommend that. So just in summary, remember, perfection doesn't actually exist. Try to enjoy the journey rather than just focusing on an unreachable destination. Try to develop a sense within yourself that although you might never be perfect, that every day you're continuing to learn things, you're always getting better and you're always moving forward and progressing. So it's okay just to know that you're getting a little better every day rather than trying to be perfect. Thanks a lot for watching. If you want to know more about hypnotherapy and how that can help you with anxiety and excessive perfectionism, please check out my website, easywaytochange.co.uk. I'm Chloe, thanks for watching, bye.